complete opposite. I mean, he's like, I mean, I don't really know how to explain him, but so he had one extreme and the other. It was quite a few different type personalities in there, but everyone was seemed to get along pretty well as you get to hang out with these people and you go through as much as we did.
Can you describe your relationships with the guys that you fought with?
With the guys in my unit, we were close. I mean, we hung out all the time. I mean, when you live together and you're together for the whole time, and and then you're packing your stuff up to go to war, and you're helping each other out, you're giving each other stuff, and thinking about what you would do when something happened, with your buddy right next to you, or what they would do to help you. It was good. We had a good time. We made the best of everything we did, and it's like having a bunch of brothers. Really, I mean, that's the best way. It's that everyone took care of each other.
So, could you describe a typical day
during war? Let's see. Panama. See, it's tough because with the two different wars with completely different scenarios and two different setups that we had. Panama, we would run right into it. I mean, as we were jumping, like I said, as we were jumping out of the planes, they're shooting at us. So we were right smack into it. So days over there consisted of patrols, patrols and more patrols, walking through the streets, going around. We did raids on houses. In Panama, it was all Noriega's guys. It was we get a lead on something as far as a person that's one of his group, and you go in there, and I remember going into houses, and these guys had hundreds of different IDs, credit cards, he had them actually, they were wrapped. I remember it was his bedside table. They were all wrapped in elastic bands separately. So you had a license with it, so an ID, and then you had credit cards with this guy under this name, and then another ID with a different name and credit card. I mean, he had probably a dozen of them.
What?
Well, I mean, with his guys, I mean, they're all doing the different things that they have, to keep their cover, keep their, whatever they had. But I mean, these houses that you go into, like Noriega's guys were. I mean, these guys were rich. I mean, these houses. I mean, like, $1 million homes, at least $1 million homes, gated, up on cliffs, looking over the ocean. Everything inside, granite, marble, everything you could ever think of was in there. I mean, guns, all sorts of guns. But I mean, the most, like beautiful places you ever go into. So these guys were, they were taking all the money. They had all the money. So, they had all their ways of getting it, hiding it, and so.
What about in Iraq?
In Iraq? A day in Iraq?
Mm-hmm.
Well, before we went in, it was more of, like a regular day. You'd get up, you'd do your PT in the morning, your training, you go for runs, you do your workouts, you do different training drills, and so I mean, that's a typical day, like in the military. You do your thing, and you get up, you do your PT, you do your stuff. And then when it got close to the time that we were going in, it was, it just kind of went right to training. So you start training on things that you're going to know. Like I was in Iraq, we went in we did a lot of patrols into Iraq, even before anything happened, before they said any ground troops were in, I was in, doing different patrols in there, and sighting, targets that would be hit, and so we'd be training for certain things. And when we first went in, it was, we were told that we were going into an area that had a cliff. So we did cliff training, like, rope climbing, that sort of stuff. So, that's what we were expecting to go in, and, we get up there and, there was no cliff. We just kind of drove in and, it was there in the area that we went to. So, so we spent all this time training and doing different things. But, that was the day there. It was, once we got in there, it was, it was quick for us in Iraq. We were the first ones there. I was there, 4 days after we invaded Kuwait. I was the first one there. We flew over on, regular planes. It wasn't even our military planes. We had nothing, no tanks, we had nothing. If he wanted to roll into Iraq at that time, we would have been in tough shape. But so our days over there were a little different than Panama.
What comes to mind when someone just says like Panama?
Comes to mind the jump first. I guess that's the first thing. When it was like Panama, like what you just said, it's the first thing. It's like I jumped there, and I know what happened there. But if you think about it more, you think about it's actually a nice place. It would be like a resort area. It's pretty nice. But when we were there, it wasn't. There was trash in the streets. It was, But the first thing is the jump, and we jumped 500 feet. That's nothing. We usually jumped at 12 to 15, 500 feet. Doesn't even give you, if your chute doesn't open, it doesn't open. And that happened to a friend of mine. The chute didn't open. But there's no time for reserves or anything. So that's always the first thing that hits me.
What about Iraq?
Sand.
Just sand?
Sand. We didn't see as much in Iraq as in Panama. Where our unit was, we were like I said, we got there first, and we were attached to a French unit over there, and we came in through, like they called it, the neutral zone. We came in through the neutral zone and then down towards Iraq. So I was in like Saudi into, I wasn't right down into Kuwait. I was on my way down, and we were just taking all our prisoners. We had, air support and everything else. It was, but as far as you could see, sand. It was just a big cat box.
If you could just take like one day out of each of those and never have to have had to live through that, could you like describe that day that you would have not wanted to have been a part of?
Going in Panama, going into Patia Air Base. That was Noriega surrendered at one point, or went into asylum. Basically, went into the embassy, and so there was a big plan to break him out of there. So they had all their, like his guys, the Panamanian Defense Force, the PDF, were his guys, Noriega's guys, and they set up this plan at Patia Air Base, which is a small airport, kind of like Hyannis, like the Cape Cod airport. And he had his private jet, Noriega's private jet was there, and all his guys. And well, we went in there to, basically to make sure that they couldn't do anything to get him out of there. So, we lost a few people in there. Some Navy SEALs got killed in there, and we had some people that got hit in there. And it was one of those days that it was like it was a deadly day. So if I could forget one or not be a part of one, that'd be a good one.
What about in Iraq?
Iraq, probably that first day into Iraq, when the whole thing was going down. the first